But B, I wanted to circle back to something. When I was in Indy, whenever that was, last week, Adam Peters got asked about the running back situation in the NFL. And, are running backs having a renaissance where teams realize their value and importance more than they were for a while? Or was it coincidental? And Peters, like he does with most things, had a really balanced answer. He said, I think everybody realizes the importance of the running back position, but last year also stood out because you had Saquon and Derrick Henry and, who's my guy that went to Minnesota from Josh Jacobs goes to the Packers. I think Aaron Jones goes to Minnesota. Like you had a lot of big names, certainly in Saquon and Henry, the two best running backs in football. But basically it was like, that might be a one-off because those guys are great and they happened to switch teams last year more so than running backs are about to just get the bag all the time again like they used to. And then the big news yesterday, I think it was right as we were getting off the air, was the Eagles getting the deal done with Saquon.
He got paid.
He was already under contract. He just got a lot more money.
Yeah. But it's like, listen, man, you can't make just a gloss over and say all running backs are going down and all running backs should get paid less. I mean, because that's the case, then you could probably, how about the quarterbacks that suck? They shouldn't get paid either, right? And I think what the Eagles did was say, okay, we got a dude, and we know he's a damn big reason that we won this thing, and we're gonna make sure we go out there and give him what he deserves.
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy is it's still not close to like quarterback money or even receiver money.
Right, but it's far better than what they had put it to.
Yeah,
and I think what that showed is the conversation that we have in this town all the time. We are always, whether it's media, fans, are always talking about what we can't pay somebody. What the Eagles just did was win the Super Bowl on the backs of a guy that was running his ass off, and they paid him, although they're paying everybody else already too. You got to pay people to compete in this league. If you don't, then you're gonna be mediocre.
So it's a 2-year extension worth $41 million in new money. $36 million guaranteed, plus he can get another 15 in incentives. The way he's playing, whatever the incentives are, it seems like he's going to reach it. It gets Saquon to $20 million AAV in average annual value. That is the first running back in history, I believe, to get to $20 million in AAV. Yep. That feels like a big deal for the position. McCaffrey previously got to 19 when he redid his deal a few years ago. If you remember, Jonathan Taylor, I mean, we're going back in time a little bit now. I think 3 years ago had the awesome season. Then he sat out for a while, and he sat out to get a new deal, and that deal got him to 14 a year with less than 20 million fully guaranteed. Mm-hmm. So this absolutely drives the market forward at running back. I'd argue running backs are still woefully underpaid. Like, do you know what Derrick Henry's making?
Like 13, 14?
It depends if you look at cash in pocket because he got a big bonus. But, I mean, his cap number is 13, but the actual cash he's getting this year is probably somewhere in like around 7.
But what he already got though. That's the way to run. Like, the NFL gives you money up front. The rest of the league just give you're signing it automatically. You don't get the signing bonus, like, and you just get the guarantee. But the NFL give you money up front, so you got to count it.
B, when he signed with the Ravens, it was 2 years, 16 mil. 9 was guaranteed.
All right.
So it's just crazy. I don't know that gets better. I am happy for Saquon, who seems like a good dude by all accounts. I thought it was so cool at the Eagles parade when he saw the ball boy in the stands and grabbed him up over the fence and brought him in to the parade. Eagles do pay everybody, man. You know, Joe Burrow mentioned it working Radio Row. If you look at, just guaranteed money this year, they have 5 dudes over 10 mil in guarantees. Mm-hmm. Hurts is making 42. A.J. Brown's making almost 30. Mailata's making 19. Devontae Smith's at 13. Bryce Huff, which is the deal they did last year for a dude that really underperformed coming from the Jets, is at $17 million guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Of all the great players you can name on the Eagles, Bryce Huff is their fourth highest paid.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes
when you miss, you miss.
When you miss, you miss. But guess what? When you're paying the right people, it works for the most part because they still paying a lot of dudes and they got the job done for them.
So here's why it works.
They hit 80%.
Right. It works because Jalen Carter's on a rookie deal and Jordan Davis is on a rookie deal and Quinyon Mitchell's on a rookie deal.
When you get guys
Cooper
on rookie
DeJean's
deals,
on a rookie deal,
but you get guys that can play on rookie deals, then you have the right to pay the guys that you can help you win today.
Sure.
And I think that's the ultimate goal that every team should be trying to get to.
The best news for the Eagles is they are not allowed to give Jalen Carter an extension for another year. Because when that hits, I don't know, man. I wonder what interior D lineman is making the most right now. Probably Jones, right?
Kansas City. Chris. Yep.
Yeah, Chris is your highest paid interior D lineman. Then Wilkins from the Raiders, Matabuke with the Ravens. I would think, especially we're talking another year from now, my gut tells me that Jalen Carter becomes the highest paid interior defensive lineman in football. Especially because some of the biggest names, like Jeffrey Simmons has been really good. Like a lot of these dudes are going to be about 30 by the time his deal comes up. And I think he'll reset that. Like Adigazawa, that the Cowboys just worked out the deal. Dude, you could argue he kind of took below market money on that thing. But maybe he just wanted the security. That was an interesting move. If we're looking at just a cap space around the NFC East now, after the Eagles pay up Saquon, the Eagles, and this is an important part of the conversation that I think Adam Peters kept trying to hit at, that folks, a lot of Washington fans seem kind of choosing to be unaware of. The Eagles now only have about 20 mil in effective cap space, but they also have 60 players under contract.
Yeah.
And this time of year, you run a 90-man roster, but of a 90-man roster, this is one of the silly things with roster cut day. When they're at 90, it was kind of more exciting when they used to go from 90 to 60 and work its way down. But now that they just go from 90 to 53, and I don't mean this disrespectful, who easily 30, if not like 35 of those cuts are going to be.
Yeah.
And you can even identify young players, especially now with the expanded practice squads and stuff. You can identify the guys. Like, when you and I watch training camp every day, you could tell who they want to be part of their plan, even if it's going to be a practice squatter. So I say that because if the Eagles only have 20 million cap space, and you want to point to that, but they have 60 guys on their roster, they'll probably fill out the other 30 without spending a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
It's going to be a whole lot of minimums to guys that are making the bottom of the roster for an offseason.
Totally.
Washington, on the other hand, is tied for the fewest players under contract. Washington, Chicago, and the Chargers all have 47 players under contract.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that means they have to sign 43 dudes to get their roster right. And maybe some of those futures contracts convert. But there's a reason, like the Pats and the Raiders have an absolute ton of cash to spend. The Patriots have 59 players on their roster signed, and they have 120 million in cap space. The Raiders have 60 players on their roster, and they have 90 million in cap space. Like they're
going to add some folks.
That is really significant. Like if the Raiders, I don't know that they will, but like if they want to make a run at Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams again, they can actually do that. The Cardinals then are kind of in the middle ground. They have 61 players signed, 75 million cap. But Washington, the Chargers, and the Bears all have about 58 million in cap space, a little below 60 million, and all of them are at 47 players under contract.
Yeah.
So like, yes, they got cash, but I think we're looking at a volume play, man. You got a lot of dudes you got to sign.
As they begin to get more and more guys, they will end up like the Eagles and the other teams too.
Totally.
But right now, when you got a new staff and new everything came in and they trying to get to that point, it's going to look like that for a bit. But they got to hit on a lot of guys.
Dude, you got to build it through the draft. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of draft picks from 3 classes ago or 4 classes ago that are part of this thing going forward. So until you can really kind of build a foundation with guys on rookie deals or extensions, it's gonna be interesting. That's kind of where Washington's at, is the interesting pile.